He is the god of war, Benoit Saint-Denis. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello, Ariel. How are you doing?
Very nice to meet you. Enchanté.
Nice to meet you too.
Have a seat, my friend.
Thank you
for
very much.
joining us. I appreciate it. Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you. On va faire toute l'interview en français.
Ah, d'accord. Parfait.
Mon audience, il parle pas français, mais je veux parler avec vous en français.
Ok, pas de souci.
No, I'm not going to do that. But I just wanted to flex for you for a second.
Okay,
that I
no
know my
worries.
French. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. Why are you still in New York, by the way? You're just hanging out?
Yeah, I took some days, holidays with my wife and my kid. And then we will go to Guadeloupe and Martinique, which are French islands.
Of course, c'est bon ça.
Where, yeah, and my brother is there, he's doing medicine. He was in my corner.
Wow. Your brother?
Yeah.
Is he a fighter?
No, he's just behind me. He's a doctor.
Wow.
A doctor.
And you had him in your corner?
Yeah, he was the third man. I have always a brother of mine that is in the corner. It's him or one of my... I have 4 little brothers.
Wow.
He's just behind me. And yeah, it was a pleasure to have him.
So do they offer any advice, or are they just there for the experience?
Is there help for the weight cut? They are not. It's not holidays for them. They are like in the war mentality. They come in. They help me with the weight cut. They prepare everything. Take the temperature of the bath for cutting weight, stuff like that. They help preparing the stuff. But when I come to the fight, they take food, everything, just like a little logistic help, you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you decide which brother is going to be in your corner if you have 4?
I have one that is living in Guadeloupe, which is near the States,
Okay.
the United States. So when it's Vegas or New York, he is the one. And it's one of my 3 other brothers when it's in Paris, France, because I have the choice then.
Okay. Are any of them fighters?
They have all a black belt in judo.
Oh,
but,
wow.
There are no fighters.
Wow. Yeah. Do you think any of them are going to follow in your footsteps into MMA?
I'm not sure, but they are all doing duty like I did. Like one is doctor, then behind is in the army, but fireman.
Oh, wow.
French fireman in the army. And then the 2 last are doing kinesiotherapy, like a physiotherapist. So it's all good for me because they are following the adventure and they are helping the way they can.
What a family.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I believe, is your wife a police officer?
Yeah. She's police officer and dog. We have 2 dogs, walking dogs, and we are living with them. And it was her main job, but now she's also my agent. So it's like a family adventure,
Wow.
Now we have a kid. She takes off the police job, and she takes time for me on my career, and she's helping me as much as she can to make the adventure pay and to make it a family adventure.
What was the significance behind your mouthpiece?
Yeah, my mouthpiece was for the special occasion, the 11th November.
This is it, yes.
Yeah.
What is the 1418?
Yeah, it's the date of it's 1914 and 1918.
Oh.
It's First World War.
Yeah.
So millions of young guys have given their life to protect our freedom, and then we had your help the last year of the First World War, and it was a very special occasion because you have also a great occasion by making it also Veterans Day here in the US. I loved it, so yeah, I wanted to do that.
And you are a veteran as well.
Yeah.
How many, 5 years you were in the French army?
Yeah, it's like 1.5 years of formation to be in the special air service, coming from nothing. I believe it's the only special forces in Europe where you can go from no army directly into the special forces, but only 10% make it out.
Wow.
Like we were 60 at the beginning, only 10% makes it out from the 1.5 year training, and then you are a special force in France, and the period I have been serving in was all about the sub-Saharan desert, fighting Boko Haram, fighting Al Furqan. I have been fighting Al Furqan a lot. So a couple of identified terrorist group overall in Africa. We took back Timbuktu, the airport in Timbuktu, and our president went there after we took it back a couple of months after. It was an adventure, and I loved it. And it was hard for me to quit this because it was a lot of investment to do that. But the passion for mixed martial art, when I started BJJ 2017, I loved it. Then 2018, I started kickboxing. I was like, I like both. And then I tried MMA like in September 2018. 15 days later, I did a amateur tournament. I won. And then I asked myself, okay, I want to do this for a living. Is it possible? And I find out there is professional career, everything. And I went on selection with my head coach, Daniel Warin, at the Venom training camp in Paris. And I was one of the only guy without a fight that was selected. With a guy like Morgan Charrière, who is in the UFC now, but he had already like more than 10 professional fights. So I was thinking, if this guy, Daniel Warin, who has been training Anderson Silva and Anderson, a lot of tough guys, if he says this guy is a bet I have to take, then I have to go. I stopped my contract with the army, and I didn't resign. I went on adventure, and I quit my job for first fight for a couple of hundreds of dollars. And then it has been great because 2 years later we went to the UFC.
It's incredible. What a story. So prior to being in the army, did you have any background in martial arts?
I did judo when I was a child.
Okay.
From 8 to 16, but more for fun than I was not really passionate about judo because I was like in small clubs, where I was like kind of the only guy that loved competition inside it. So I already like competition, but with one training per week, you are not going to be competitive. But I loved it, and I went till the black belt, and I did also I had some success in judo. But I didn't train enough because I already knew I wanted to go to the military. I also tried rugby. I loved it also, and then I stopped because it was not very professional. It was amateur. You get injured a lot because the guys, it's like old school judo, So at 16, I stopped judo, and I trained my body to go to the special forces after getting the high school done. And I did that, and 2017, I don't know why. I saw a poster of my current ground coach on a car with two guys doing BJJ, and I was like, I was curious, and I tried it, and I was like, it's good stuff. It's some good stuff.
Wow. Did you watch the UFC? Were you familiar with what was going on?
Yeah, when I started BJJ, I started to watch.
But even prior to that, like...
I enjoyed watching it because I went to the special forces to be part of the best warriors of my countries. It was in my mentality, in my philosophy of life. I wanted to be part of like this kind of small groups doing very important geopolitical missions and being great at using any kind of weapons, any kind of way of approach of the enemy, skydiving, subdiving, everything. It was all these adventures that I loved and I wanted to be part of. So, like close combat is part of it. Is a small part of it. So, of course, I already had some Dan Anderson against Shogun fight. It's one of the fights that makes me love MMA right away.
Okay.
And when I started BJJ, then I felt in love even more and restarted watching it. And then I saw the fight, for example, the McDonald versus Robbie Waller fight, and I was thinking, if I'm doing a career, this is what I want. This is what I want to experience.
That's amazing. I have we commemorated with this.
Yeah, crazy with the nose broken. And
crazy, right?
Crazy fight.
That is amazing. Do you think that if you never saw that poster and started doing BJJ and all that, would you still be in the army?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because I would not have discovered Christophe Savoca, who is my grand coach, and he's the guy that gave me. It's like a rebirth, you know. He gave me the passion and the emotion of the sport, the love of competition. He showed me also the mindset. He is the guy that put me back in combat sports. Maybe I would, but maybe later, you know.
Right.
I don't know. But this guy, and he's still with me, and he's also in the family now because he's the godfather of my daughter. So him and Daniel are the two guys that have been bringing me back to competition, and now I enjoy the process, and it's a whole family adventure.
It's incredible that it's been less than 5 years since your debut. Is this all happening faster than you thought, or were you expecting it to go down like this?
Not really, because what is very interesting in this sport is there's a lot of instinct. It's not only about how bad you want it, but it's also, do you have the intelligence and the capacity to learn new stuff and to be curious about all the stuff. For example, I cannot understand a mixed martial artist that doesn't want to be the best in everything. That's what I'm trying to be. When I'm gonna be at the best time of my career, I want to be the best striker, the best wrestler, and the best ground guy of my division. So nobody can test me anywhere. And I don't understand guys that are only satisfied by being the best striker or the best. Man, you are not the best fighter. If you are not at least one of the best in everything, you let a lot of openings to get beaten. And I'm really passionate in being better every day in each of the discipline. And when you put them together, back together also, it's also a bit different.
Right.
And this is what makes mixed martial arts special. You have to use not only your body but also your mind, and it's the mentality of the Special Air Service. I was able to use it very well by doing adjustment in my preparation. If you are not on products, your body is not able to do too many tough sessions a week, so you have to think about everything. When do I do technical stuff? When do I do tough session? To bring it together well, and then to have a staff, very competitive staff, that is going to be, each session has to be bringing you to a better level. If the staff you are using are not good enough, at some point you will stay at the same level, because you are only as good as your teachers are. And I do believe in that, and I'm trying to have the best game plan to get better and better every day, and to have to just have a planning of my week that is going to make me a better fighter.
So considering that right now, which of the disciplines do you feel most comfortable with? Which one would you put at the top of the list, and which one do you feel like you need the most improvement?
Today I feel I'm well-rounded, but I feel I have still a lot of stuff to learn in each one. But now it's not anymore like a huge weakness, but like a lot of adjustment on specific work, like top half guard, or for ground, for example, back takes, clinch work for striking, for example. Distance management, in wrestling, some fence defense, a lot of small things like this that I'm going to improve to get even better, and to let no room for the guys, because there's one thing that we have in our family. We are tough as hell, and that's one thing I will, like when I talked about instinct, that's one thing that will never change in my mentality, my way of fighting. So I want to get a better fighter skill-wise and physically, but my mentality will keep the same.
Speaking of instincts, Frevola is moving away from you, and you it was almost like a slap. Like you nailed him as he's moving away, which is extremely hard to do. Could you tell me how you pulled that off? Like, what were you seeing? I mean, obviously, you could tell that you were within range to land that kick, but it was very unique because he was clearly trying to get away from you in that moment, and you were able to make him pay.
Yeah, because I'm a pressure fighter, those kind of conditions happens a lot when the guys are fighting me. They don't want to clinch with me or to wrestle with me or to be in close distance, or they are trying to get distance back. So I have a good left kick. I had already marked him with a leg kick on 2 or 3 body kicks. So I knew the time will come where I will try the high kick as well. And I feel like it was a moment because just after the scramble, usually the heart rate gets a bit higher. The ability to take instant decision is a bit less good. So I took the opportunity. I felt like it was a perfect moment to try it. I had a small moment of hesitation between the middle and the high kick, but I went for the high kick.
How do you explain what's happened in France? Because, for a long time covering the sport, it was always illegal in France. And now finally it's legal. And the explosion of, the fans there are incredible. I haven't been lucky enough to be at one of the events just yet, but to hear them singing Le Marseillaise. Is it La or Le?
Yeah, La Marseillaise.
La Marseillaise, excusez-moi. The national anthem.
Yeah.
And then the crowd going nuts. And then there was, your fight, the event you were just at, and then there was the PFL one there with Cédric Doumbé.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are insane crowds.
Yeah.
This is amazing. How has it exploded? Why has it exploded all of a sudden? I even see on your social media, the likes and stuff. It's incredible numbers. You guys are all so famous and beloved. Cyril Gann and Manon Fiorot and all these. How do you explain all of this? Why is this happening?
Because the French population has been waiting for the UFC for a lot of years. A lot of people loved it, but it was not legal till 2020. COVID period, no UFC. First UFC 2022, second one this year. People have been waiting for it. And I do believe they really love it in France. And now even the big public in France is starting to discovering it and to enjoy it. It's like the UFC in the 2000 period in the US, but for us, it's like we are telling that a lot in France. Everything is arriving 10 or 15 years later than in America. This is what happened with mixed martial arts. So now it's a crazy period to be a French fighter in France.
You're fearless. You don't. Does anything scare you?
A couple of first skydiving experience, yes, but other than that,
did you more nervous before that, or like a UFC fight at MSG?
No, more nervous for the 2 first jumps.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the first time you go out of a plane.
Yeah, how high were you?
The 2 first times, very low, like 1,000 feet.
How many times do you do it before you do it in real life? Like how long do you have to train for?
2 weeks for automatic sky jump, which is very low. It's to have a lot of people very fast on the ground. And it's 2 months for skydiving at high heights to be able to have an opening right away and to infiltrate yourself on your group. For example, with the wind, you can do as much as 40 kilometers between the place where you are jumping from and where you go. So, for example, you can be jumping in France and arriving in Germany.
Wow, that is amazing. And God forbid this would ever happen, but can they call you back? Like, are you a reservist or?
There was, of course, but it's only for 5 years. So I think the period is close to be over.
Okay.
It's only if bad thing happens, but it has to be really bad for them to call you back.
Okay, hopefully that never happens. And do you still keep in touch with your?
Yeah, of course.
They must love this to see what's happened to you, right?
I have a lot of enthusiasm from all my compatriots and all my military friends. They love it. They are watching it and they are pushing me to be better and we exchange also a lot when I can. We are exchanging, I try to keep one foot inside this community because I love it, and it's always enjoyable to keep a couple of skill sets for the future. I won't be a fighter all my life, so I think I will be a fighter all my life in the spirit and in the way I'm living my life. But I won't be a UFC fighter all my life. So it's always good to keep your skills.
God of War. Speaking of spirit, who gave you that nickname?
My brothers, my little brothers. I came back from. So I was doing war when I was 19. So they find it was a good nickname for a former military special force member.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Have you watched the fight? Have you watched it back?
Yeah, I watched it one time. Yeah.
What did you think when you were doing the post-fight interview?
Yeah.
And you mentioned, who you want to fight next, and they showed Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
He didn't look all that excited about the idea of fighting you. This is what I was referencing earlier. What did you make of what you saw when you saw they did the split screen?
It is the fight I want to have.
Is that the one at the top of the list?
It's on the top of the list, of course. It's not his fault, but there's going to be... I do believe they are going to make Makhachev against Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
Gaethje is a warrior. He likes activity. So we will have to fight again. Big dates are coming for next year, and he has already been defeating Dustin Poirier. He has been defeating a lot of tough guys. And I do believe this is a fight for the BMF. And he has the chin to make it a war. You can have tough guys, but if they don't have the chin with me, it's not going to make it. And I do believe we both have a chin that we can crack a couple of times. And if people want a violent fight and a fight that could be lived in the history, I think it's a fight to make. I do believe we can have a fight that is going to be crazy scramble, crazy punching exchanges. And I have a lot of respect for him, but I do believe he will have to fight before getting the title because of this Islam Makhachev and Oliveira stuff. And Islam doesn't fight this much, so he will have to wait a lot. If he wants a war and anywhere, I'm for it.
Do you think there's a chance you get that next?
Why not? It's the UFC. Why not? A lot of guys are booked already in the division. There's Gamrot, Dustin, and him that are not booked. So those three guys are the
you would take
targets
any
for
of them?
Me. Yeah, of course.
But the one at the top of the list is Justin.
It will be...
That'll be incredible.
Like I said, I'm in the mixed martial art because I saw this Endo versus Shogun fight, this McDonald against Robbie Lawler, and I can see a bloodbath and something like where my teeth are going to grow during the fight. It's crazy excitement. And
that excites you? A bloodbath excites you?
Oh, yeah.
Why does that excite you? Don't you want to not get hit, get cut?
I want a tough fight. I want to fight when I'm going to be 45. I'm watching it and I'm like, it was good. It was a good fight. I want it to be tough. You feel you are out of breath. You have blood in your mouth.
You love this.
Your body is tired. Your spirit is a bit broken. And let's see who is gonna be broken the most, and which spirit is gonna let go before the other. And to make a fight like this, you have also to have a chin, because if you don't have the chin, it won't last. So I believe he has the chin for it, and
You're getting me all excited inside here. The idea of this fight.
Yeah, great.
I see no scenario where this is a bad fight.
No, it's me neither. So
do you think he is interested?
I do believe he's interested in tough fights and in making a point in the division. So he will have to make a point, and he has a lot of options. He's a better ranked guy. He's a veteran. He is a star. But I do believe it could be a fight that excites him as well.
This time next year, if we're speaking in November of 2024, where do you think you're at?
If I have this fight, I have already one belt around my waist, and I'm looking for the next one.
You think this time next year you're in the title picture?
I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna give my all to be a real title contender. Yeah, of course. It's it's all I wish for my team, my staff, my family, or for all the people that are pushing me to be there. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna work as hard as we can to get there. And I do believe I earned a great fight for my next fight, and
Yes.
it's gonna be one more step to get that belt around my waist.
By the way, when you were starting, was there any fighter in particular that you, for lack of a better word, looked up to, that you really liked, that you tried to emulate? Was there anyone that stood above the rest?
I have to go for Rafael dos Anjos and BJ Penn.
Wow.
Because they are well-rounded, and I love the warrior mentality. You know, they took the best challenges they could. Not always the best challenges for their career, but the best challenges to give you a great show. I mean, look at Rafael dos Anjos. He has been fighting Colby, Leon Edwards.
Yes.
Kamaru,
He doesn't say no to anyone.
No,
I actually was saying on
Khabib, he has
Monday,
been fighting anybody.
I thought they might do you versus him next.
It could be great.
Would you like that?
It could be great as well, but I heard he want to stay at welterweight now. I'm a little bit more excited for a guy that wants to fight in my division.
Right.
But it could be a great fight. And BJ Penn as well, because the guy, it's the same thing. I mean, he fought in heavyweight against Lyoto Machida in the beginning of his career. And it's the only guy in the UFC to have been both champion in lightweight and welterweight, which are, in my opinion, with the 66, the three more stacked and heavy talented division. So he's the only guy to have make it so far. 70, 77, it's very hard to do because there is a lot of difference in weight between a 77 and a 70. 66, 70, you can see there is already a big difference between Volkanovski and Makachev. But 70, 77, even bigger.
Wow. I like those two choices. Not everyone says those two names as far as inspirations are concerned. You said something that was really interesting before. Your wife is your agent.
Yeah.
Why is that?
She's a former football player. She won a European Cup with for no football, but it's inside. It's not outside.
Oh, futsal.
Futsal,
With the small ball. It's a smaller ball?
Yeah, a bit smaller, but not a lot smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, she won it with the girls of Toulouse. So
wow.
She's a former professional feminine football player.
Wow.
And then she stopped that to go to the police after the Bataclan events in France.
Yeah.
And it's the same time I stopped my military career to try to be a professional athlete.
Wow.
So we have kind of a crossover. So I helped her to be a police officer the best I could. Like, she was already great at it, but for example, in small stuff like being an instructor in shooting, she went to do it, and she's like one of the only women to make it out. And I help her with that, for example, because I had a lot of rounds that I have been shot before, and you have to be a good shooter when you are in special force, but because in no stage liberation, if you don't shoot the right head, it's not gonna be good for your career. So you have to be good at it. It's one of the biggest specialty you have to be good at.
You worked it with hostage liberation.
Yeah, of course. It's part of the job, you know.
That must be very stressful in addition to everything else. But just because you're dealing, it's so close, right? The margin of error.
Yeah, it's very close. And one of my good friends, the last hostage liberation where there were Americans who were liberated in France.
Wow.
We had two killed in operation on our side from the Commando Marine, they are called, and they did this action combined with our guys. And it's a difficult job because you take a lot of risk, because it's like you have to take the guy out in a fight in less than 3 minutes. So you take more risk because you have to go fast before the terrorists are going to execute the stage, or you usually lose the surprise. You lose it very fast, because in the desert, for example, they are hearing you coming in. So it's very difficult to keep the self-liberation is one of the most complicated mission for special forces. I do believe it's more complicated than events of political personalities or stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. When do you think we see you again?
As soon as possible.
As soon, no break.
I will take some holidays with my wife, and but like March or April.
March, April against Justin Gaethje. That's the dream.
That's the dream.
What's the pitch to him? What would you say to him?
I would say I will give you war. I promise.
Great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you
and,
very much.
Congratulations
Thank you,
on all
Ryan.
your success. Enchanté, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you very much.